Now let us go back to our calculator page and apply what we learned about JavaScript. So let us now actually perform the operation on these two static operand and dynamic operand over here. The static operand or values here are just for the sake of example to show that JavaScript can read from anywhere in this page, not only from the input text box. Remember, the first step is to register what event that we want to be able to detect. Where do we put the registration of the event? Go back to the page. We want the event to be registered on here. If I click this add word or sub or mul or div, it will do the operation on the operand and give the result here. Similar way, we want the event to be registered on the buttons here that contains the operation symbol. So how to register the operation? We just need to add the on-click attribute to the respective tag. So we key in on-click and what do we do? This is add. Let's say we want to execute a function name dynamic, static add semicolon. Why do I call it static add? Because it's going to add the static value of 34 and 56. Then similar to the other operation, of course, the other operations need to do the correct operation. Instead of add, this one should be sub, mul, and div. So we will define these four functions later. Let us register the event first. Then what about the button? We register it at the button tag. This is not static, this is dynamic now. If you save and refresh, nothing happened because registering for event is not something that is visible on the page. So that is the first step. You assign what event you want to detect. Next is to give label to the input, the static input here, and the result for the static operation. The same for the dynamic one. We need to give ID or name to the input source and the output target. How to give name? We just give ID. We give ID to this one, the number 34, ID, we give value of static op1, and this one of course static op2. ID cannot be the same for more than one element. Those are the input, then the output will go here for the static one, static result. Save it. Then for the dynamic, we give the ID to the input tag. This is dynamic operand 1, dynamic operand 2. And then the result is in the table data. This is dynamic result. You won't see anything yet. Then third step is to define all the functions or event handler that we want to have. So now we start with the script tag. We start with static add. This is a function. Then the dynamic operation. Right? All these are still blank functions. We will fill in the content of the function in a moment. First, we need to link the input and output of the calculator in the function. The static one, the pointer or the variable to point to the two operand. Let's say we call it op1. We assign with document get element by ID. What ID? For static add, the source for operand 1 is having the ID of static op1. So it is static op1. Then operation 2, of course, is op2. Then all static operations will have similar pointers to point to the same source. You can copy and paste. And obviously, the operation on dynamic input will get the source from dynamic op1 and 2, which is this one and this one. Alright, so the code can easily getting longer in no time just because we are doing copy and paste a lot. Then these are only the input. We need to link to the output also, or the result. So now the pointer to result, this one should be static result, which is this one. We copy to the other three functions. Then the dynamic operation will target to dynamic result. That is step number 4. Then step number 5, the last one, is to do the actual operation. So let us do the operation. You see these two pointer, op1 and op2, it is pointing to the element, not to the value. So we need to convert them to value. The value is the text inside the element that we are pointing to. So it is op1 dot inner text, capital T, and it has to be converted to number by calling pass float. So we get the value of 34 at this point. Then we do the same for op2. We take the pointer, and then from the pointer we get the inner text, which is in this case is 56. Then since this is add operation, we add them together. For now, let us put this in alert function, not in the actual result yet. We put in alert function so that we can test whether our work is correct or not, because this is still at development or debugging stage. Save it, and only this static add works for now. Refresh. If I click this add item, it should give a pop-up of the value of the addition between 34 and 56. I get it? 90. But we don't want a pop-up value like that. We want it to be written next to the result label here. So we don't want alert, but we want this to be put in the result dot inner HTML. The inner text will get the text only without the HTML tag. Inner HTML will give or will set the text and also the tag of HTML. So one more we need semicolon. So the addition of these two will be passed to the result, which is the static result here, this one, and write the content of the result there. Save it, refresh. Now the result become 90. And we still want the word result there. So we need to do some string concatenation. So instead of this simple assignment, we need to assign with result. We need to assign with result, the string, and the operation. Save it, refresh, click. So we get result 90. And sub mount is not done yet. We just need to copy and paste only this line. And be careful, we need to change the operation. This one is subtract, this one is multiplication, this one is division. Save it, refresh, then add is 90, sub is negative 22, mul is that one, division is that one. And we have not finished with this yet, these buttons yet. So perhaps we can copy and paste also. Let us see. Now the source should be the same. The target also should be the same. The operation, dynamic add and static add should be the same. I think that is it. Let us try. Save, refresh, and let me put 4 and 5. Add, we get not a number. Something is wrong there. The reason is because this op1 is pointing to input, and input does not have inner text. So there's nothing there. Actually, we need to change this to value. So this is the difference between span or paragraph and the input. Input, we need to refer what the user key in as value. Try again. Now we get the result 9. You see the word result is repeated. We don't want that in this case. So the concatenation is not needed in this case. But maybe we can keep the surrounding bracket. Refresh. Add again. Now we get 9. Subtract, multiply, and divide we have not done yet. But I do believe it is a simple copy and paste. And edit the proper operation. This one is division. This one is multiplication. This one is subtraction. Refresh. We get addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Oops, division is not correct. Okay, the bug here is because I forget to edit this one. This is very typical mistake made by programmers. It is div, not add. Save it and refresh and we retry. We get 0.8. So everything is correct now. So that is all. I hope you enjoy programming with JavaScript.